Like I would always play, even just for fun because I love the game overall. So I would still like go to events and I compete there, but it depends. Like if the scenes get like much smaller, for example, then maybe I wouldn't be full time anymore, and I would like still play for fun and go to like events.
Sure.
Kind of like some players are already doing these days. So it kind of depends how it's gonna evolve in that way. But in terms of the negativity, I remember when I was like, I don't know, like 14 years old, and I heard people say like, like it's sad that Clem is like so young because he kind of came like after the golden days of StarCraft. But,
Hey, SE Historian here. I have yet another piece for you with a titan of StarCraft. This time, it's Clem. Clem and I had the chance to chat just after his final match at the 2025 EWC against Classic. We pondered on his new role as one of the faces of StarCraft, the future of the scene, and much, much more. If you love StarCraft and you want to keep hearing from the biggest names in our community, past, present, and future, support my channel by subscribing, leaving a like, and your crappy takes in the comments down below. If you really want to see my channel grow, consider supporting me on Patreon. Your support for me and for StarCraft at large means the world to me. With that out of the way, let's jump in to my word with Team Liquid's Clem. So, Clem, thank you so much for taking the time today, man. I really appreciate it.
of course.
So this is what, your third time out here to Riyadh?
Yes, third time.
Yeah. How was the travel experience this time?
I mean, it's like pretty similar to the past 2 times, I'd say.
Sure. Pretty easy?
Yeah, pretty easy. I came all the way from Korea, so
right.
It was a bit of a long flight, but yeah, it was all good.
Yeah. Are you staying with Rainer over there?
I was staying with, I was staying by myself in a hotel, but I was living very near Rainer and Trigger.
Got you. How was your time in Korea?
Korea was great. Honestly, Korea is always very fun, and it's good to practice as well. Some good practice there, and yeah, it's overall a good time. I
feel like that's probably is this the longest you spent away from home, like spending time in Korea and then coming here?
Honestly, yeah, it probably is the longest time I've been away from home. And
that's kind of interesting. I guess I never really thought about that.
Yeah, and after here, there's also like 1 or 2 days in Poland for the Polish tournament as well.
Yeah, right.
After.
Also, you're a mad lad for that. Like, I can't believe that you're going directly to Krakow from here.
Yeah.
That's nuts. How are you feeling going into that event?
Well, honestly, I feel fine. I feel pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, people had expectations for you. You had expectations for yourself coming into this event. Classic proved to be in great form and gave you a really, really tough series. What do you feel like went wrong there? Why do you feel like you fell a little bit short?
Well, I think every game pretty much. The early game went like pretty bad for me. In game 1, he had a really smart like adjustment against eBay block, which was really cool. I've never seen it before, and it really caught me off guard. But the other games, yeah, just like not the best early games. And if you play against Poros as Terran and you don't have good early games, like there's not much hope. I feel like I think some of these games I took like really good fights and stuff, but it just wasn't enough because I was too far behind, or like just not enough.
Do you feel like balance is really out of tune right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always a bit hard to say, like, because if you look at the race representation this tournament, for example, it doesn't seem like crazy, It's like 1 Poros in the round of 4, right? So it doesn't seem crazy, but I think PvT is a bit insane right now for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel about your PvT from the Protoss perspective?
I'd say I feel really comfortable, or like confident, I guess, as Poros against Terran. I did practice it a lot before the event, and yeah, I felt pretty good about it. I say I felt more confident about my PvT than my TVP.
I've heard a rumor that your Zerg is getting pretty good.
My Zerg?
I heard somebody said your Zerg is getting pretty good.
Well, I'm not sure where that rumor comes from, but I don't play much Zerg.
No?
No.
Okay. Maybe somebody was just pulling my leg. I'm not sure. So, what is it about Korea? Like, why do you feel like going to Korea has value at this point?
Well, the thing is, Korea has, like, if you think about it, just in terms of like going there to practice, it has a bigger pool of good players, I'd say. So, like, of course, in Europe we have insanely strong players like Cyril, Rainer, Max Pax. Although Rainer is also in Korea, but like a lot of good players. But I'd say the player pool of like very good players is smaller in Europe. So you get better games on average in Korea if you play like ladder. You can find like really good games all the time.
Yeah.
Compared to Europe, where it's a bit harder in that way.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. It seems like the ladder is a bit more active over there in Korea.
Yeah, for sure. It is.
Yeah. Who have you been practicing with coming into the event?
Honestly, I've been mostly playing some ladder. I played a little bit with like Rainer, Trigger, like some customs here and there. For my PvT, I did play a little bit with like Pure, Beyond, bunch of Terrans. But overall, I'd say most of it was just like playing ladder. Yeah, that's usually what I like to do.
Sure. So over the last year, since you won the World Championship, I think you've kind of been positioned as like the face of StarCraft. In a way, right? Like when they're making StarCraft advertisements, it is your face on them, right? Does that feel weird? Do you think about that much?
Well, I didn't really get the exact same like impression. Like I know I was on the BNet launcher when they were advertising AWC, but I think it makes sense because I'm the previous winner.
Yeah.
So I was mostly thinking about it in that way. But
sure.
It definitely feels a little bit weird in a way. For
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially among the French fans and the French audience, I think, you know, they have a tendency to go absolutely apeshit every time you play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the French fans are amazing, honestly, and the French casters as well, and like they really put up the hype, and like, the whole community is amazing.
Absolutely. So they've announced now this LAN that's going to be happening in Paris.
Yes.
How do you feel about that, to be able to play on your home turf?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that sounds really fun to play in. I think it's top 4 goes offline. Yeah. So yeah, I'll do my best to qualify to the top 4 because I still gotta make it to the top 4. I think to be able to play online there. But honestly, I might like just go no matter what, even if I'm not qualified, because it seems like a really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's also pretty close for you, right? Like,
yeah, decently, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of negativity around StarCraft. There's been a lot of negativity around StarCraft for, 10 years now or more, really, which is, sounds crazy to say, but like there really was, even when the scene was super robust.
Yeah.
There's some people that believe that this might be the last major tournament in terms of huge prize money. Now, on the other hand, the community's been mobilizing. Just like we talked about, the tournament in Paris has been announced. Gerald put together this tournament in Krakow. Homestory Cup, it seems like they're persisting just fine. We have the announcement from Streamer Zone of a $25,000 plus tournament with an offline finals. Does that keep you motivated? Do you think you could continue to put the same level of mental and physical effort into the game with only those still sizable but not EWC quite sized tournaments to look forward to?
I do think so. It kind of just depends, if I can I make a living out of it, like out of playing full time. Like I would always play even just for fun because I love the game overall. So I would still like go to events and I compete there, but it depends. Like if the scenes get like much smaller, for example, then maybe I wouldn't be full time anymore, and I would still play for fun and go to like events.
Sure.
Kind of like some players are already doing these days. So it kind of depends how it's gonna evolve in that way. But in terms of the negativity, I remember when I was like 14 years old, and I heard people say like, like it's sad that Clem is like so young because he kind of came like after the golden days of StarCraft, but like at the end of the day, nowadays there's still tournaments to this day, and like tournaments like EWC. So I'm not too worried in that way, and yeah.
I watched the EWC documentary that featured you, and one of the moments that really touched me and I loved a lot was you reviewed some footage of yourself from like your first event when you were really young. Talk to me. What did it feel like to look back on like that kid, and to be who you are now? Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a bit crazy when you look at kind of like the journey. Like I was attending my first few like LANs in France when I was like 10, 11, and I don't think back then I would believe that today I would be like a StarCraft 2 pro gamer.
Yeah.
That's a pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, not even just pro gamer, but like obviously one of the very best. Do you feel like there's more pressure now that you were the defending world champ as opposed to a year and a half ago when you never won a LAN before? Or do you feel like... I definitely
think that like people, of course, expect good results from me because if you get like very good results the last time, they expect you to get very good results again.
Yeah.
But I just try to not put too much pressure on myself, and it's kind of just what I try to do because if I put too much pressure on myself, then if I don't do good, I'm gonna be too disappointed, and then it kind of sucks. But yeah, there's like people expect more for sure, like better results, I guess, because they just expect you to do the same pretty much.
Do you feel like you're good at managing those expectations for yourself?
I would say that I got better at managing like expectations and that kind of stuff. And I feel like he used to make me like very nervous when I was playing tournaments sometimes, because I would be really scared to get knocked out early. So I would be like really nervous for my early matches. But I think nowadays I'm like a little bit better at dealing with that kind of stuff. And I just try to not put too much pressure on myself. Like of course you're always going to be a little bit nervous if you play a tournament like this, because it's very important. But I got better at it for sure.
That's great. That's great to hear. I think that's like something that people struggle with very, very often, right? Especially once they taste that victory, and you kind of think that you're just going to keep repeating it, right?
Yeah.
So digging into this series with Classic, things like you said didn't really go particularly well in the early game. You had that moment there where you committed to the second Reaper and unfortunately got picked off, and then in the third game you had that moment where you lost the medevac. What was going through your mind? Do you feel like you were able to maintain composure well, or do you feel like you frayed a little bit? Yeah, what was going through your head?
Well, I think overall it was fine. I was just I said the third game I was when things were like going wrong in the early game. The third game I was kind of like defeated a little bit. Although I was like, I was still trying to do stuff, and like after my bench she's got a lot of damage, so it kind of put me back into the game, and I was like, okay, I can actually win this. But yeah, it's always a little bit disappointing. And losing the first two games like I did, like I was a bit rough on my mental, I guess.
I think your facial expressions.
Yeah, I'm very expressive.
Like you seem super defeated, but as soon as you got that damage with the Banshees, you locked in. Like you looked very very focused again.
Yeah, for sure.
So of the remaining 4 players, who do you think is going to take it?
I think Sarah is going to win.
Yeah.
It's the most obvious answer, I guess. Although like it could always be someone else, but I do feel like Cyril is a big favorite against Kier, as he rarely loses against him.
Yeah.
And whether it's Classic or Solar in the finals, I think he would beat both of them. And he already beat Classic the tournament 3-0, so I would expect him to win again. And against Solar, it's always a bit hard, like ZVZ. I think stuff can always happen, and I could see Solar taking it, but I think it's probably going to be Cyril.
Cyril's got to be feeling pretty good. He doesn't have to face you in the finals, I think.
That's also true.
Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. I know it's not super fun to jump into an interview after a defeat like that, but as always, I appreciate the time. Do you have any closing words, man?
Well, thanks for the interview, and thanks to everyone who follow the tournament, follow my games, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Clem. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Get subscribed so you don't miss out on future releases like this one. If you really enjoy what I do here, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the video description. That's all for now, my friends. Until next time.